If you thought this video was about mixing grids and data with waifus and hug pillows, I'm afraid Rule the Waves 3 covers only about 60% of that. It stuffs you in the seat of the boss of your country's navy from 1890 to 1990 and tells you to design the ships, plan the fleet, and sometimes play Ocean Snake. Or to the glorious visual triumph of Windows' brutalist function defeating form.
Majestic.
Behind the violently low-key looks of Rule the Waves sits a beast of a grand strategy, like Hearts of Iron, except that the navies are more than just a mobile bridge for the English Channel, and all the landlubbertosh is reduced to a die roll once a month. The first dip into the big old spreadsheet throws you into a panic seizure as your eyes scan for something that looks like a game element. You do get some solace from the end turn button, but you still quit the game, searching for a video by someone who has a clue what they're doing. A few illuminating hours later, you come back armed with the knowledge that your cheapskate government has given you a budget to split between your ships, coastal batteries, espionage, research, and design, which you happily go in the red for, building a hefty squadron of about 1 billion battleships, which are not gonna see any water for about 3 years, but technology probably hopefully is not gonna advance that quick, is it? Also, you discover that for a newbie, playing the British is a nightmare of trying to dabble a little in every puddle everywhere, instead of taking Italy and splashing a lot in one puddle all the time. Time to quit again! By 2 in the morning, you carefully click through the most insulting options in the events the game throws at you, enough for Austria-Hungary to take the hint and declare war. Finally, you finally get to see the real-time battle mode, directing your top view fleet, engaging the enemy, and watching your crew do their hopefully best in 3 times smart pause increments. Soon though, you realize that all guns in the game have tech-based quality ratings, and that the fearsome 15-inch cannons on your battleships are made of sturdy planks held together by metal hoops and dirty limericks about Blackbeard's mum. Which explains why they've shot a bazillion rounds in a protracted ballet with the enemy fleet and have mostly hit the orcas. In addition to taking a torpedo right in the belly from a tiny ship that just happened to sneak by. You watch them sink and you quit and you go to bed for a sleepless night of wondering about the ship design choices you made throughout your life. 15 hours into the game, you've read enough of the manual and taken enough beatings to start looking for balance between the speed, the armor, and the armaments, and all those other important dinglings for designing your ships like mines and seaplanes that the enemy will punish you for not having. It actually dawns on you that your country's ever-crumbling economy won't survive any giant vanity build in addition to the swarms of torpedo-wielding destroyers you have to construct, so every 15 years you just drop a new engine and better sights in your 1895 Mamma Mia's in hopes they can still do more than sink. But, in a cruel twist of fate and tension mechanics, you end up fighting the Brits, who sent a squadron of battle cruisers after you, which you never see because they bombard you at maximum range using radar at night and leave 15-inch holes in any prospect of having a David and Goliath story in that war. You rage quit and sadly realize that big ships may not be Italy's forte. At 30 hours, you feel like an out-of-touch old crank in a turret-shaped hat. As you scrap a 50,000-ton battleship you'd spent half a decade building and realize that it was the last battleship owned by any naval power in human history. It's the 1950s now, and guns are there exclusively to outmatch the rubber dinghies and not yet rusty Kalashnikovs of Somalian pirates. Real boys press the launch all missiles button, hear the siren go and see explosive pencils fly off in the direction of that unidentified blip on the radar, all while praying to survive another 20 minutes for a reload and blowing up, having caught enemy pencils after 15 minutes of frantic maneuvering. Another 10 minutes and enemy jets arrive and laugh at how your top ships fall apart so quickly without surface-to-air missiles. Needless to say, you rage quit afterwards. 50 hours plus, you have drilled deep enough into the iceberg of this game's simulation to start seriously considering choices of aircraft carriers versus land-based naval aviation, taking into account your geopolitical position, as you can now smugly smirk at the terrible scout plane designs cash-hungry engineers throw at you, and to know that just outside your field of vision, you've still got plenty of uncharted waters to explore, like the staggering customization of ammo type used per caliber per target type, and the applications of float plane and helicopter carriers. You're not quitting now. You're not quitting for a long time. All in all, Rule the Waves wins as the most naval of all grand strategy games, or the most exciting of all boss screens. You might not be able to marry a horse or breed ugly out of your dynasty like in your average map game by Paradox, but you will bask in the usual joy of wrecking your enemy's fleets and slapping your flag on his clay. For the 100 years of turning the ocean's heart, you will witness 4 or 5 revolutions forcing you to redesign, rebuild, rethink, and remodel all you have planned for the naval battles of the future. Rule the Waves may look daunting, especially if your expertise in naval warfare is limited to knowing the German lyrics to Lazy Town's You Are a Pirate. All it takes is for you to understand the basic loop of the game and grasp the idea of clicking the arrow button to raise speed. The game, the ship design automation, and the manual will do the rest of the work sucking you in.